So hello everyone and welcome to Career Launcher. So I hope you can see the thumbnail, and here actually we'll be discussing the complete paper discussion analysis of CLAT 2026. So we'll discuss all the subjects starting from GK and current affairs. So I along with Govind sir will be joining very soon. So I think I'm audible, visible. If yes, then please write yes in the comments. GK and current affairs. So I along with Govind sir will be joining very soon. कैसा क्या आप लोगों का पेपर बताइए. हाउ वाज योर प्रिपरेशन? हाउ वाज योर पेपर? कुछ लोग लिख रहे थे कि सर जीके डिफिकल्ट था. वाज इट सो? मैंने तो दिया ही नहीं. कैसा क्या पेपर? प्लीज टेल मी इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. हाउ वाज द पेपर? जीके कैसा था? हाउ वाज द जीके? अच्छा, सम प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस आल्सो गॉट रिपीटेड व्हिच आई टोल्ड यू. जो मेरा पेड क्लास था, आई स्टिल रिमेंबर लास्ट क्लास जो था उसमें वी हैड डिस्कस्ड कि प्लीज रीड द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस एंड वन और टू क्वेश्चंस केम फ्रॉम देयर, और एटलीस्ट 2-3. जीके कैसा गया? जीके स्टार्ट विद द जीके बिकॉज़ वी आर स्टार्टिंग विद द जीके. टू क्वेश्चंस केम फ्रॉम देयर. आई गॉट 21 आउट ऑफ 28 इन जीके. हाउ इज दैट? ठीक है, थोड़ा सा और बेटर होता तो कुड हैव बीन बेटर, बट चलो ठीक है. अंबेडकर वाला क्वेश्चन भी रिपीट हुआ लीगल में, राइट? एंड प्रीएम्बल पर मैंने क्लास लिया था. आप सर्च करो प्रीएम्बल करियर लॉन्चर लॉ एंट्रेंस, उस पे 3-4 क्वेश्चन जो है लीगल में आया है उससे. अरे एक क्वेश्चन बीएन राव का था, वो मैंने कंस्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली वाली क्लास में लिया था यूट्यूब पर. ऑल आर अवेलेबल. विल शो यू इन द लास्ट सेक्शन ऑफ द क्लास. ठीक है. सो
गुड इवनिंग सलेक सर, शैल वी स्टार्ट?
कुछ लोग लिख रहे इजी था, नॉट दैट ग्रेट. ओके, सो गोविंद सर, आई थिंक यस, गोविंद सर हैज जॉइंड. सो लेट अस बिगिन.
Shall we start?
Yes, yes. Easy tha, not that great. Okay. Okay, so let us begin with. So let us begin with the first one. Okay, so let us begin with. देखो, the first passage था. The first passage actually. Let us begin with the first one. Okay, so let us begin. The first passage was actually talking about Donald Trump, H-1B visa policy, etc. है ना? जिसमें he talked about कि revoking sanction on चाबहार पोर्ट, etc. tariff, etc. तो अब इसमें ये था कि पहला क्वेश्चन ये था. देखो, इसमें आप पैसेज विल नॉट रीड इट बिकॉज यू शुड रीड इट, कि इनिशियली टैरिफ कितना इंपोज किया गया था. देखो, इसमें जो लिखा हुआ 50%, बट इट वाज नॉट इनिशियली. इनिशियली हैड इंपोज्ड 25% tariff, then later on 25% more was added. So the answer should be B, right? So you can see 25% reciprocal initial tariff was there. So B is the right answer. I think it's easy, sir. What is your opinion?
Absolutely, sir. A straightforward question. I think most students would have tackled this. Absolutely, sir. A straightforward question. I think most students would have tackled this.
Okay, the next one was क्वेश्चन नंबर 2. इसमें पूछा ही गया कि डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प ने क्या रीजन साइड किया था व्हाई पेनलाइजिंग इंडिया विद एडिशनल टैरिफ. एंड ये हम लोगों ने काफी डिस्कस किया था. आई एम श्योर यू मस्ट बी अवेयर दैट इंडियाज डिफेंस एंड एनर्जी टाइज विद रशिया. बस में इसलिए बात हुई थी कि वी वर इंपोर्टिंग अ लॉट ऑफ ऑयल, है ना, स्पेशली आफ्टर रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर. सो डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प वाज थ्रेटनिंग यू शुड स्टॉप बाइंग ऑयल एटसेट्रा. तो इसका तो आंसर डी था. सिंपल था, स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड था, है ना. एंड अब देखोगे ये वाला क्वेश्चन, जो क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 है, इट वाज क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग. मतलब थोड़ा सा, दिस इज प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन आल्सो. वी हैड सीन क्वेश्चन ऑन चाबहार पोर्ट, बट वो थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट स्टाइल से पूछा गया था. लास्ट टाइम पूछा गया था कि चाबहार पोर्ट व्हाई इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, इट विल हेल्प इंडिया रीच सेंट्रल एशिया थ्रू ईरान, राइट? बट यहां पर वो वाला आंसर नहीं था. देयर द आंसर कुड हैव बीन बी. एंड इसका आंसर जो है, आई विल टेल यू व्हाई इट इज. सो हियर इज ईरान. देखो यहां पे चाबहार है. सो वन थिंग, चाबहार इज हेल्पफुल. जैसे आपको मुंबई से जाना, लेट्स से वी कैन रीच टू सेंट्रल एशिया विदाउट गोइंग टू पाकिस्तान. That is one thing. The second argument is it is a counterbalance to China's presence in Gwadar port. So China ने एक something बनाया है, what we call, so here is Gwadar in Pakistan. So it will go something like this. Here is Kashgar in China and this is Gwadar. And this is called a CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Okay. So to counter this, India has made this Chabahar port. Okay. That is what you should be knowing. So that is the other argument. So B is the right answer to this question. I think Govind sir has left. Okay, I hope it's clear, है ना? Okay, let's move on to the next one. The question number 4. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The question number 4. What was the primary purpose of H1B visa? ये भी काफी ज्यादा न्यूज में था, ठीक है? तो इसका जो आंसर है ये विकिपीडिया से टॉप में लिखा हुआ है, इसलिए मैंने कहा कि आपको विकिपीडिया पढ़ना चाहिए. देखो, इट सेज non-immigrant visa in United States that allows US to hire foreign workers. Non-immigrant visa, है ना, for foreign workers. So D is the right answer to this question. And MAGA बहुत फेमस है, Make America Great Again. So B is the right answer. Sir, what is your opinion? Sir, आपको क्या लगता है कि बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट था और was it easy? मतलब some students are saying it was difficult, but I think it was not that much difficult. What is your opinion?
I think it was easy to moderate. बहुत ज़्यादा difficult तो मैं भी नहीं बोलूँगा. Students who were well prepared found this easy to moderate.
What is your opinion?
I think it was easy to moderate. बहुत ज़्यादा difficult तो मैं भी नहीं बोलूँगा. Students who were well prepared found this easy to moderate.
है ना, मतलब हमको उतना सारा डिफिकल्ट नहीं लगा, पता नहीं बच्चे क्यों लिख रहे हैं. ओके, लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द नेक्स्ट वन. द नेक्स्ट वन वाज अबाउट द विनिंग ऑफ दिव्या देशमुख. इस पर हम लोगों ने क्लास लिया था, बहुत सारा डिस्कशन हुआ था. शी डिफीटेड कोनेरू, हम्पी एटसेट्रा. ठीक है, चेस ओलंपियाड के बारे में. उसमें कुछ क्वेश्चंस कह सकते हो कि डिफिकल्ट होगा. जैसे क्वेश्चन था, वेयर इज द ओरिजिन ऑफ चेस बिलीव टू बी. तो इंडिया में एक चीज होता है, देखो हिस्ट्री ऑफ चेस पढ़ोगे, फर्स्ट लाइन में लिखा है चातुरंगा कहते थे इसको. एंड ये चीज पढ़ा, मतलब आपने सुनते सुनाते जरूर सुना होगा ये बात कि एक्चुअली इंडिया में ही हिस्ट्री, मतलब चेस का ओरिजिन हुआ था. आई एम श्योर यू मस्ट हैव हर्ड इट. मतलब ये जीके में नहीं पढ़ते, बट बचपन से सुनते आ रहे हैं, राइट? सो आई गेस द आंसर कुड हैव बीन सी. आप शायद कर देते. अब देखो इसमें कैसे करते, देखो आप सोचो फर्स्ट टाइटल, इंडियन टाइटल किसने जीता होगा? देखो डी गुकेश है, ये सब यंग है. तो फर्स्ट जो किया होगा बहुत पहले किसी ने किया होगा जो सीनियर होंगे, है ना? और विश्वनाथन आनंद का नाम ऐसे भी बहुत ज्यादा आता है. सो यू कुड हैव लाइक थोड़ा सा गेस ले सकते थे, चांस, and the answer would have been D, है ना? So D was the correct answer. Sir, what is your opinion about these two questions?
I think approachable questions sir, थोड़े से different, but GK awareness यहाँ पे थोड़ी ज़्यादा चाहिए थी आपको, rather than current affairs की knowledge. तो जो students regularly GK पढ़ रहे थे, in depth पढ़ रहे थे, उनके लिए easy रहा होगा ये. And थोड़ा सा different type of question था, but nothing that most students could not answer. So ठीक है, थोड़े से surprises थे GK section में भी. थोड़ा सा different type of question था, but nothing that most students could not answer. So ठीक है.
Yes. Let's move on to the next one. The next is question number 8. ठीक है. Question number 8 says who was the first official world chess champion? तो अब इसमें जो है अगेन विश्वनाथन आनंद तो नहीं होगा. सो द आंसर इज विलियम स्टेनिस. अगर आप देखोगे वर्ल्ड चेस चैंपियन की विकिपीडिया पेज पर तो फर्स्ट में ही मेंशन है विलियम स्टेनिस. मैंने कहा ना विकिपीडिया पेज से डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस आते हैं फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड पैसेजेस से. सो आप देख सकते हो. सो द आंसर वाज एक्चुअली डी एंड इट वाज नॉट दैट मच डिफिकल्ट. अब देखो ये प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन रिपीटेड है. आई केप्ट ऑन शाउटिंग before the examination in my paid classes, please read the last 3-4 years previous year question. I think 2023 में पेपर में आया था, गैरी कैस्परोव वर्सेस डी ब्लू. सी इज द राइट आंसर. ठीक है, ये क्वेश्चन हो तो 96 में जीत गए थे, 97 में ही लॉस्ट. डी ब्लू वन इट, राइट? दिस इज अ प्योर डायरेक्टली प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन रिपीटेड. सी इज द राइट आंसर. और 11th एडिशन ऑफ चेस वर्ल्ड कप जो है वो गोवा में हुआ था. सो ये ऑफ कोर्स इट वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ करंट अफेयर्स. सी इज द राइट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. आप देख सकते हो चेस वर्ल्ड कप 2025 happened, 11th edition happened in Goa. So the right answer was C. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. The next question is about Pahalgam terrorist attack. This is actually a speech given by the Foreign Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar. ठीक है? And about Operation Sindoor. तो इसमें बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें थी. चलो मैं आंसर ही से डिस्कस कर लेंगे. Which you could have answered it. जैसे देखो ये कितना आसान क्वेश्चन था. ये क्वेश्चन स्किप करने का था, है ना? बच्चे बता रहे कि सर डिफिकल्ट. सर इतना आसान क्वेश्चन है. सी अतारी बॉर्डर, ये कई बार न्यूज में था, नियर अमृतसर पंजाब. अतारी बॉर्डर क्लोज करने की बात कही गई थी. विल क्लोज डाउन द अतारी बॉर्डर, राइट? व्हिच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट अ सार्क नेशन? कितना बार मैंने बताया है, और मैंने ये भी बताया था कि मॉरिशस और मालदीव से लोग कंफ्यूज करेंगे एग्जाम में. सो द आंसर इज एक्चुअली सी. सो आई थिंक इट वाज एन इजी क्वेश्चन. सर व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन इन दिस रिगार्ड? आपकी क्या राय है? मालदीव से लोग कंफ्यूज करेंगे.
So I think easiest questions of the paper, पहलगाम वाला and अटारी वाला भी काफी फेमस जगह है. अटारी बॉर्डर, वाघा बॉर्डर परेड वगैरह होती है. So maximum स्टूडेंट्स को ये पता होगा. सार्क नेशन वाला हो सकता है कुछ स्टूडेंट्स के लिए चैलेंजिंग रहा हो, बिकॉज सार्क काफी टाइम से एक्टिव नहीं है इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर मीटिंग्स एंड ऑल. ब्रिक्स वगैरह ज्यादा एक्टिव है, बट सार्क भी हमने करा है क्लासेस में कवर. आपने भी करा है, मैंने भी करा है. सो जिन स्टूडेंट्स ने अटेंड करी होंगी वो कर पाए होंगे क्वेश्चन।
हाँ, सार्क बिम्स्टेक भी किया गया, ठीक है। सार्क अभी रिसेंटली उतना एक्टिव नहीं था, लेकिन हाँ वी हैव डन इट। मतलब सार्क बिम्स्टेक होता रहा है। अतारी तो अक्सर न्यूज में रहता है, जी कोड़ा आंसर्ड इट। लेट्स मूव ऑन, है ना, टू द नेक्स्ट वन। पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा। देखो होता क्या, ये डिप्लोमेटिक लैंग्वेज में ये वर्ड लिखा था, वियना कन्वेंशन और डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस वगैरह में ये वर्ड यूज किया था। देखो उन्होंने कहा कि दे हैव बीन डिक्लेयर्ड एज पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा, हाई कमिश्नर्स। कहीं पे था पैसेज में, हाँ यहाँ पे। पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा का मतलब है अनवेलकम है, क्या वापस चले जाइए। ऑल दोस हाई कमिश्नर्स या फॉरेन एम्बेसडर्स जो भी होते हैं, फॉरेन ऑफिशियल्स को पाकिस्तान को कहा गया वापस चले जाइए, यू आर अनवेलकम। ठीक है, डिप्लोमेसी में दिस टर्म इज बीइंग यूज्ड। इंडस वैली, ये तो बहुत ही आसान क्वेश्चन था, इसमें क्या करना था? वर्ल्ड बैंक, वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन। एंड ये क्वेश्चन था, विच इज ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट अ ट्रिब्यूटरी ऑफ रिवर इंडस। आप देखो ये है इंडस, ऐसे जाती, मैंने कई बार बताया, झेलम, चेनाब, रावी, ब्यास, उसके नीचे सतलज, है ना। तो ताप्ती तो यहाँ है नीचे, गुजरात इधर नर्मदा, यहाँ उसके नीचे ताप्ती है। ताप्ती तो किसी भी हाल में नहीं होगा। सी इज द राइट आंसर, इट्स वेरी सिंपल, है ना सर। आई थिंक व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन इन दिस रिगार्ड? आई थिंक बहुत डिफिकल्ट तो नहीं था ये सब
बिल्कुल
क्वेश्चंस।
सर, बेसिक ज्योग्राफी सर। आई थिंक ये तो बिना प्रायर नॉलेज के भी, बिना करंट अफेयर्स के भी मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट्स कर लेते हैं आंसर। तापी, नर्मदा, द ओनली वेस्ट फ्लोइंग रिवर्स, काफी बार हम स्कूल में भी पढ़ते हैं। एंड वी ऑल नो 5
ये सब
ट्रिब्यूटरीज
क्वेश्चन जो
इंडस
है
की तो
आराम से
बहुत
आप कर
बार
लेते हैं,
न्यूज़ में
मतलब इसमें
होती
कोई
है।
लाइक डिफिकल्ट नहीं था। पता नहीं क्यों लोग बोल रहे हैं कि जीके वाज डिफिकल्ट। नाउ लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन, एससीओ, शंघाई कोऑपरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। अब इसका भी हम लोग पैसेज आप पढ़ लीजिएगा प्लीज। एंड लेट्स टॉक अबाउट दिस। देखो इसमें थोड़ा सा कॉमन सेंस का आंसर करना था। सिविलाइजेशनल डायलॉग फोरम, ये क्या है? अब देखो सिविलाइजेशनल डायलॉग की बात हो रही है तो कल्चर ही से रिलेटेड बात होगी ना। पीस एंड सिक्योरिटी, तो जब फाइटिंग टेररिज्म ऐसा की बात होगी तो पीस एंड सिक्योरिटी की बात होगी, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट इन एनवायरमेंट वगैरह की बात होगी। कॉमन सेंस से कल्चरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग। अब देखो यहाँ 1 सितंबर 2025 का पीआईबी है, सिविलाइजेशनल डायलॉग फोरम टॉकिंग अबाउट कल्चरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग, हो गया। एंड दिस वाज एक्चुअली, यू कुड हैव आंसर्ड विद कॉमन सेंस, डी। ठीक है, सो आई थिंक इट वाज नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट। सिमिलरली नेक्स्ट प्रेसिडेंसी ऑफ एससीओ, मैंने पूरा सेपरेट क्लास लिया था यूट्यूब पर, तियानजिंग डिक्लेरेशन करके, तियानजिंग वाली एससीओ, उसमें हम लोग वी हैव डिस्कस्ड अबाउट किर्गिस्तान। Similarly, ये previous year question repeated again. I told you, है ना, ईरान, this was very easy question. Hopefully these things you could have answered it, है ना। तो यहाँ पे चाबहार पोर्ट, ये कोई नया है ना, चाबहार पोर्ट। This was very easy question, I would say. हाँ, नेक्स्ट है, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट अ मेंबर ऑफ शंघाई कोऑपरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। म्यांमार मेंबर नहीं है, ये सब लोगों ने बताया था। ईरान 2023 में ऐड हुआ, 2024 में बेलारूस ऐड हुआ, 2017 में इंडिया एंड पाकिस्तान टुगेदर एडेड। म्यांमार इज नॉट अ मेंबर। सेक्रेटेरिएट ऑफ एससीओ पे मैंने बताया था शंघाई कोऑपरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट इट इज नॉट हेडक्वार्टर्ड इन शंघाई, इट इज हेडक्वार्टर्ड इन बीजिंग। ओके, और 25th एससीओ समिट का तियानजिंग डिक्लेरेशन, दिस वाज एक्चुअली अ वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन। सर व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन, आपको क्या लगता है?
बिल्कुल सर, ये सारे क्वेश्चंस क्लास में डिस्कस्ड हैं। रेगुलर स्टूडेंट्स जो रहे हैं उनको ये क्वेश्चंस इजी ही लगे होंगे। सम स्टूडेंट्स हु आर नॉट इन टच विद करंट अफेयर्स, उनके लिए थोड़े से चैलेंजिंग हो सकते हैं, बट आई वुड नॉट कॉल देम
हाँ, it
डिफिकल्ट
was not
क्वेश्चंस,
very
इजी
difficult,
टू
so
गो
we
थ्रू।
could have answered it question, है ना। ये सब पढ़ाया भी गया
जी
था, इसलिए we believe that you could have answered it. Let's move on to the next one, AI 171 accident. This was actually a very unfortunate incident that had happened. I'm sure you must be aware of it, है ना। तो उसके बाद जो है टाटा ग्रुप ने टाटा मेमोरियल वेलफेयर ट्रस्ट भी बनाया था AI 171 से रिलेटेड। सो दैट वाज अ पैसेज अबाउट इट। देखो ये वाला जो क्वेश्चन था थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी था, आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड इट, बिकॉज इतना तो आदमी को पता था कि लंदन के एयरपोर्ट जा रही थी प्लेन। अब कौन सा वाला था, दैट वाज एक्चुअली स्लाइटली ट्रिकी, बट द आंसर वाज लंदन गैटविक एयरपोर्ट, एंड आप देख सकते हो। सो ए इज द राइट आंसर हियर। एंड मिनिस्टर ऑफ सिविल एविएशन, ये कल परसों न्यूज में थे, जिन्होंने कल परसों न्यूज पढ़ा वो बता देंगे। सो इंडिगो क्राइसिस वाज हैपनिंग, सो इवन एट दैट टाइम दिस हिज नेम वाज एक्चुअली कमिंग इन, राइट, है ना। तो अगर आप 2-3 दिन पहले भी थोड़ा बहुत भी अखबार पढ़ रहे हो, थोड़ा बहुत देख रहे हो, यू कुड हैव आंसर्ड इट, सी इज द राइट आंसर। एंड मिनिस्ट्रीज पर मैंने पहले ही बताया है, 2021 में भी क्वेश्चंस वी हैव सीन, 22 वगैरह में भी वी हैव सीन क्वेश्चंस और मिनिस्टर्स। नेक्स्ट है, ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन इसलिए था कि जो ट्रस्ट है ना, ये मुंबई में बनाया गया है, ऑल्दो द इंसिडेंट हैपेंड इन अहमदाबाद, बट द ट्रस्ट वाज सेटअप, आई विल शो यू, मैंने टाटा की वेबसाइट आपको दिखा रहा हूं, ट्रस्ट इन मुंबई इट वाज सेटअप। ठीक है, तो ये गेस में अगर आप गेस मारते तो गलत होता, बिकॉज मोस्टली पीपल वुड हैव गेस्ड किया चाहे अहमदाबाद में इंसिडेंट हुआ तो अहमदाबाद में ओपन हुआ होगा, बट दैट वाज नॉट करेक्ट। सो द आंसर वाज सी। आपको पता होगा टाटा का जो अभी मेन बॉम्बे हाउस जो मेन हेडक्वार्टर वगैरह है वही है अभी, है ना। सो दैट वाज द थिंग। तो इट अब 25 नंबर क्वेश्चन वाज लिटिल ट्रिकी कह सकते हो। 26 वाज इजियर, ये काफी इनका नाम आया था कि इंडियन ओरिजिन क्या है। आई थिंक देयर इज सम ग्लिच। Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
I think it's okay. Hopefully.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
ओके सो ए इज द राइट आंसर ब्रिटिश नेशनल ऑफ इंडियन ओरिजिन थे ये भी हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था मैंने ये काफी न्यूज में था अभी रिसेंटली भी उनके बारे में कुछ इंटरव्यूज वगैरह आए थे कि वाज नॉट फीलिंग वेल एटसेट्रा एंड ऑल है ना सो द राइट आंसर वाज ए इज द राइट आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन वो इंडियन नेशनल नहीं थे है ना इंडियन ओरिजिन के थे बट ही गॉट ब्रिटिश सिटीजनशिप सो इट वाज एक्चुअली एन इजी क्वेश्चन नेक्स्ट है जो AI 171 हुआ उसकी 1 मंथ के बाद एक्सीडेंट के बाद एक प्रिलिमिनरी इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट आई थी AI एयरक्राफ्ट एक्सीडेंट इन्वेस्टिगेशन ब्यूरो के द्वारा दैट रिपोर्ट केम and that also we discussed in the Hindu analysis काफी ज्यादा हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया था so C was actually the right answer to this question और वो फ्लाइट पूछा गया था कौन से थी ड्रीम लाइनर बहुत बार न्यूज में आया था ड्रीम लाइनर इतना बार आया था कि आई एम श्योर you could have answered with the help of the term ड्रीम लाइनर so B was actually the right answer to this question sir what is your opinion on this regard ये सब क्वेश्चन कैसा आप इसको क्या कैटेगराइज करोगे
सर अगर प्योरली स्टूडेंट्स के पर्सपेक्टिव से बात करूं तो मुझे लगता है ये वाला पैसेज थोड़ा सा टफ था जेन्युइनली डिफिकल्ट था बिकॉज यहाँ पे थोड़ी सी बाल की खाल निकाली गई थी थोड़ा सा फैक्ट पे ज्यादा एम्फोसाइज किया गया था कि बताओ कौन सा एयरक्राफ्ट बताओ कौन सा एयरपोर्ट कौन सी कमेटी विच आर फैक्ट्स जो काफी स्टूडेंट्स ने हो सकता है कैजुअली पढ़ लिए हो या उतना ध्यान से याद ना किए हो या नोट्स में ना लिखे हो सो उस वजह से काफी स्टूडेंट्स को आई नो जेन्युइनली दिक्कत आई होगी इसमें बट इट्स ओके मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट्स को इसमें दिक्कत आई है सो बहुत ज्यादा टेंशन वाली बात नहीं है अगर आपने इसमें एक दो आंसर्स गलत कर दिए बाकी सारे सेक्शंस हैं आप लोग डेफिनेटली वहां पे कवर कर लोगे ठीक है थोड़ा सा सिविलिटी बनाओ रखो यार चैट बॉक्स में थोड़ा सा झगड़ा दिख रहा है मुझे लाइक कर दो एक बार सब लोग सेशन बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ एक्शन कमिंग
थोड़ा सा हुआ होगा आई गॉट इट हां बिकॉज ये थोड़ा एकदम डीप में जाके पूछ लिया और कंफ्यूजिंग भी था है ना डीजीसी अक्सर न्यूज में रहता है कुछ लोगों ने डीजीसी मार्क कर दिया होगा एटसेट्रा एंड ऑल तो बट जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन रिपोर्ट आई थी AIB की आई थी सो सी इज द राइट आंसर ठीक है सो आई थिंक दिस वाज अबाउट द क्वेश्चन फॉर द जीके अच्छा एक दो चीजें मैं बताना चाहूंगा टुडे इन लीगल सेक्शन वी हैव सीन एटलीस्ट 3-4 क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम दिस क्लास आई हैड टेकन द क्लास है ना एक BN राव का क्वेश्चन आया था BN राव कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल एडवाइजर that actually came from this class है ना so I hope many people would have got the benefit in legal section as well so I think this is all about the GK section now we are moving on to other section so thank you Govind sir for helping me and please
thank you so much
class leave mat kijiyega we'll be having another session okay so we are stopping it here
Shashank sir is joining us for the next section. I think Shashank sir is here. Sir, welcome to the stream. आप लोग स्टूडेंट्स को नेक्स्ट सेक्शन के बारे में बताइए टिल देन आई विल जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स टू ड्रॉप अ लाइक ऑन दिस सेक्शन इफ यू हैवंट येट बिकॉज सारे सेक्शंस एक एक करके आपके पास आते रहेंगे सालिक सर ने बहुत मेहनत की है थ्रू आउट द ईयर मैंने भी थोड़ी बहुत मेहनत की है जिस वजह से आई होप आप लोग का जीके सेक्शन ठीक ठाक गया होगा
I have worked the least Govind I have worked the least I taught QT so anyhow people are not interested but anyone who has attended the QT session they knew that how to approach lengthy questions and how to get at least 2-3 questions out of the difficult sets or lengthy sets so
absolutely sir I'll let you take charge आप please quant के बारे में थोड़ा सा स्टूडेंट्स को बताइए and then we'll be back with the next section चलो bye bye see you guys
yeah so hello everyone so let's start with QT section so in QT section what happened so basically this is the first passage we are seeing and in this passage the first part if you are going to look at the first part this part is complete useless this is you just wasted time in reading this and there is nothing much that is given so what is the important point that is given here it is talking about urban population rural population and they are talking about insurances right so there are 4 type of insurances one is public scheme second is public insurance then they are talking about employer provided then they are going to talk about uninsured and basically everything is divided into 2 parts one is in urban region second is rural so urban and rural so if I am going to solve this question and the initial percentages they have already given they are already talking about that 55% of 180,000 is going to be 99,000 and that is going to be 45% is going to be 81,000 but if I want to solve this set quickly now what I'm going to do in this So if I'm going to solve this set quickly, then the approach that I'm going to take is going to be, I'm not going to take those two numbers. I'm going to take the actual numbers as 1,80,000, and I'm going to solve all the questions according to 1,80,000. Okay. Okay. So this is going to be 1 lakh, 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, and it is going to be 80,000. And I'm going to solve every question accordingly. And I have taught this thing always, that always read the question. So I'm just going to fill up the basic data. In urban areas, the public coverage accounted for, so public schemes accounted for 28%. This one, private something is 22%, employer is 18%, and uninsured are 32%. The same thing I'm going to talk about in rural area. Public coverage was 35%. 35% of what? 80,000. Then 10% of private insurance, 8% of employer one, and 47 were uninsured. Okay. Now, the first question, the ratio of insured adults in urban area to rural area, and it is talking about accurate numbers. So, insured adults. So, basically, I'm not, and if you look at the options, options are very odd type of numbers. So, how I'm going to do it quickly, that 32% are uninsured. So what percent are insured? That is 68%. 68% of what? 68% of, I would say, sorry, 68% of 99,000. Okay. And in rural, insured are going to be, uninsured are how many? 47%. So there are going to be 53% of what? 81,000. Now we can simply cancel out zeros. Divide by 100, not necessary, because you can simply cancel it out. It is going to be 11, it is going to be 9. So 68 into 11, 11 8s are 88. 8 is carried over, 11 6 are 68. Plus 8, that is going to be 748. So in the numerator, I am going to get 748. So I am simply going to mark my answer as option B, that is 748 is to 477. So this is a question that we can solve very quickly in this particular question, in this particular exam. Now, this is a question in which I feel we are going to need a little bit more calculation. By what percent the number of uninsured rural? So uninsured rural. So basically, uninsured rural is 53%. Of what? I am simply going to take 80,000, not 81,000. I am working with 80,000. Sorry, uninsured is not 53, that is 47. And in urban, what is the uninsured? So uninsured is 32. So insured is going to be, sorry, that is going to be 32%. So 32% of what? 1 lakh. Okay. So this number comes out to be how much? This number comes out to be simply 32,000. This number comes out to be 50% minus 3%. So 50% is what? 40,000. And this is going to be, 3% is going to be what? 2,400. So this is going to be 37,600. Okay. So I am going to get 37,600. So what is the increment? So in reality, this number is going to be smaller and this number is going to be lower, because I am taking this value as a higher value. Okay. So what is the difference? I am going to get 5,600 divided by 32,000 into 100. Okay. So if I increase this value a little bit, if I decrease this value a little bit, I am going to get my value that is going to be very close to 20%. So answer of this question is directly going to be option B. If you are going to go with the actual data, it is going to take a lot of time. I won't say that take the actual data, because 47% of 81,000 is going to take a lot of time. Now the next one, I'm going to take the same approach. Privately insured we are talking about. So what is a privately insured thing? Privately insured is it is 18%, and privately insured is 22%, and privately insured is 10%. Okay, so I got 1 lakh. Out of 1 lakh, the population increased by 5%. We are talking about urban. So 5% is what? 5,000. Out of 5,000, 22% means close to 1,100 people uh, uh, got privately insured. And among 80,000, again, the increment is what? 5,000. So 5,000 is what? 5% is going to be 4,000. 4,000 and 5% of 4,000 is going to be what? That is going to be, this is, and 10% of 4,000 is what? 400. So I am going to get my value as 1500. So my answer should be very close to 1500, and there is going to be only one option that is very close to 1500, and that is going to be option E. So if you are going to approximate the values and solve like that, and you are going to get the answers very quickly in these kind of sets. Now the next one, the total number of employer covered adults. So in urban, total population is 1 lakh. In rural, total population is 80,000. And we are saying employer covered is 18%. So that is going to be 18,000 directly. And here it is going to be what? 8%. So 8% of this is going to be 6,400. So my answer is going to be 24,400. And is there any option that is very close to 24,400? And that is going to be option C. So this is how we should approach this set so that we can solve it in very less time. Now, what percent of the all insured adults are publicly insured? Okay. What percent of all insured adults are publicly insured? Okay, so if I'm going to solve this question, more likely I'm going to leave this one because I think it is actually going to be very lengthy. So out of 1 lakh, total insured people are 32 are uninsured. So 68,000 are insured. Okay. In rural, there is 80,000 people, and out of that, we got 53%. So 50% is 40,000 and 3% is 2,400. So that is going to be 42,400. So I'm going to get 0, 0, 4, 8, 2, 8 plus 2, 10, and 10, 11. 1,10,400 people we are talking about, and we are talking about out of these many people, how many are publicly insured. So among public schemes in urban areas, 28,000 people are there. Okay. In urban area, it is 35% people are there. So 35% is going to be 40% is going to be 32,000, and 5% is going to be what? 4,000. So it again going to be this is going to be okay. And so okay, did I make mistake somewhere? This is going to be 28%, and it is going to be 35% of this. 8 3s are 24. Okay, so this is going to be 28,000. So I am getting 56% people, 56,000 people that are publicly insured, and out of how many people? That is going to be 1,400,000. So this value, if this value is close to 55,000, then this value is going to be close to 50%. And is there any option that is close to 50%? That is option C. So this is how I am going to see this question, and this is how I'm going to approach this question. So am I going to take a lot of time? No. Instead of 99,000, as soon as you are going to convert the value as 1 lakh, and instead of 80,000, as soon as you convert the value to 80,000, the calculations become very easy. And out of 6, I would say at least 4 are very easily doable. What percent of total surveyed population was insured? Okay. So here in urban area, 68% population was insured. In rural, 53% population is insured. The base here is higher. So basically there are 1 lakh people, or let's say 100 people, and here we have 80 people, right? So always remember that average percent always going to lie between this and this. So 53 is not at all possible. Now the population differences are not so much, so final value is going to be close to the average of these two numbers. So this is going to be what? 121. So my answer is going to be close to 60, 65% or 61%. So that is going to be my final answer, and that is going to be option C, because no other option is coming close to it. If I have an option as 60%, if I have an option as 62%, in that case I would have calculated, but other options are not even close to us, so I'm not going to calculate. I'm simply just going to look at the values and mark the answer. So in the exam, the actual approach is always going to be this, that pick up, make a lot of assumptions and get the answer. Okay. Now let's look at the second set that has been the easiest set, and what it talks about. It talks about the generation of coal as 2200. So let's talk about Q1, let's talk about Q2, let's talk about Q3, and let's talk about Q4. And we have four kind of powers, and the four kind of powers. Just give me a moment. Let me change my PPT a little bit so that I will have more space to. So I'm going to erase everything, make table again, so that things will be a little easier for me. So I got Q1, then I got Q2, then I got Q3, then I got Q4. So I got four values, 4 quarters. Now I have four or five types of energy. One is going to be which one? Coal. So I got one as coal. Then I got second one as what? Gas. Then I got hydro. Then I got solar. Then the last one was wind. And then we have total. And luckily in the exam, they have already given the total values. So we have 2200 in coal. We have 800 in gas. We have 900 in hydro. We have 700 in solar, 400 in wind, and total is 5000. Okay. And the question also says that these three are renewable. Now it is going to be 2400. This is going to be 700. Then it is going to be 1000. Then it is going to be 800. It is going to be 600. It is going to be 5500. This is 5000. This is 5500. Just let me write the data, and then we'll be done quickly. This is 2100, 900, 800, 1000, and the last value becomes 700. Okay. Is it actually 700? Yes. So it again becomes sum is 55. Now the last value becomes 2300, 850, 1100, 900, and 850, and the final value comes out to be 850 twice. Okay, and this is 6000, and these are the values that are given to us. Now the first one, total annual generation. Total annual generation is going to be very easy. Just add up all the numbers: 5000, 5100, 5000, 5500, 5500, 6000. So that is going to be 22,000. So first one is very easy, straightforward question, can be solved in less than a minute. Just add up this number, this number, this number, and this number. You are there. Now the next one, the overall renewable share of the annual generation is what percent? Okay, so renewable is how much? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add up all the renewals. So basically it is going to be what in the first, in Q1 it is going to be 2000. In Q1, in Q2 it is going to be 2400. In Q3 it is going to be how much? 2500. In Q4, it is going to be how much? That is going to be 2028.50. Now total sum comes out to be, this is going to be 550 in the end. 4 plus 5, 9, 9 plus 8, 17, and it is 9,750. Okay. Now total energy generation was 9,750 out of 22,000. Now 40% of 22,000 is going to be 8,800. How much is remaining? That is going to be 900 and what? 950, right? Now this value is more than 4% of 22,000 and less than 5%. So my answer should be greater than 44% and less than 45%, and that is going to be option C. So this is how we are going to approach these kind of questions. Now the quarter in which highest renewable percentage share, and I think there is one more question, the quarter with the lowest renewable percentage share. Okay. So I in the first quarter I am getting 2,000 out of 5,000, so that is directly 40%. I am getting 2,400 out of 5,500, so this value is definitely greater than 40%. Okay. So it can't be lowest. Okay, this is 2,500 out of 5,500, that is going to be close to 45% or something, 45% ish. So this value is definitely higher than this one. So this is Q2 is neither the highest nor the lowest, and it is 2,850 out of 6,000. So this value is going to be close to 47%. So Q4 is highest and Q1 is lowest. So if you calculate this, you are going to get two answers directly, which is the highest percentage share, that is Q4, and which is the lowest percentage share, that is going to be Q1. The two answers are very clear. Now for the next one, the carbon policy reduces Q4 coal by 10% and shifts entire reduction equally to solar and wind. Okay. So carbon policy reduces Q4. Okay. So in Q4, carbon is 2,300. It is reducing by what 10%. So and that equally is going to be divided between, I think, solar and wind, or solar or hydro. So basically 10% is 230, half of this is 115. So 115 is going to be added in solar, so that is going to be 1,015. So solar is going to be 1,015, and that is going to be the answer. Now the next one, the annual gas hydro generation ratio. So annual gas and hydro generation ratio. So basically we are looking for annual of gas and hydro. So gas is how much? That is going to be 800, 1,500, 2,400, 3,250. Okay. And how much is going to be hydro? That is going to be 2,000 and 3,000, 3,800. So 0, 0 cancels out. I can still cancel out by 5. So this comes out to be 65. This comes out to be 76. So answer of this question is going to be 65 is to 76. So answer of this question is going to be option B. So can we solve these questions in 5-6 minutes easily? Yes. The first set, I would say, I'm going to take a lot of time. If you don't know how to approximate and get the answer, then first set, I would say it's not at all doable. But still, I would say there are 2, 3, 4 questions out of 6 questions. They were easy. If you would have invested, if you would have known that instead of 99,000 and 81,000, you could have taken 1,80,000. You could have solved all the questions in less than 6 to 7 minutes. So maybe 8 minutes. But if you are going to stick to 99,000, the first set is not at all doable. You shouldn't have solved that set. Now, with this, I think we are done.
हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, कैसे हो आप सब लोग? हाउ वाज द सेशन? आपका पेपर कैसा था? हेलो हेलो हेलो। वी आर हियर विद द लीगल रीजनिंग सेक्शन। थैंक यू शशांक सर। अब हम लीगल सेक्शन देख लेते हैं फटाफट कि व्हाट इज देयर इन आर लीगल सेक्शन एक्चुअली। तो फर्स्ट जो क्वेश्चन था, देयर वर 5 पैसेजेस, और 5 पैसेजेस में अगर मैं बात करूं तो नॉट गुड। इतना इतना भी खराब नहीं था यार, ऐसे तो मत बोलो। इजी था। इट वाज इजी। इट वाज नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट कि हम वर्स्ट। ओ माय गॉड। लीगल सेक्शन। लीगल सेक्शन कैसा था? जल्दी। ओके ओके। हाँ, ओके। सो देयर वर 5 पैसेजेस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू जितने लास्ट टाइम आए थे। हमारे पास 32 क्वेश्चंस थे लास्ट टाइम विद 6 पैसेजेस। इस बार हमारे पास पांच पैसेजेस और 30 क्वेश्चंस आए थे। फटाफट से आंसर्स डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन वाज ऑन वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन। हम इसके बारे में सेशन कर चुके थे। अगर जिसने मेरी क्लासेस अटेंड करी थी विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द लीगल करंट अफेयर्स, हमने इसके बारे में बात की थी, राइट? अरे इट वाज इजी बच्चे। ओके चलो, कोई बात नहीं। मूव ऑन करते हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द फर्स्ट passage. It was from the experts from One Nation, One Election. Or it was an easy passage, but कुछ questions were out of the blue. थोड़ी सी prior knowledge was really necessary with respect to the same passage. सिर्फ 2 questions थे जो कहीं ना कहीं were there in the passage. ठीक है? तो बाकी जितने questions थे were आउट। तो पहले से आपको पता होना चाहिए था या आपके पास थोड़ी सी प्रायर नॉलेज होनी चाहिए थी। इट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट टॉक्ड टॉपिक दिस ईयर। रिसेंटली हमने मार्च अप्रैल सॉरी मई जून के टाइम पे वी हैव कनेक्टेड अबाउट द सेम, और ये हमने बात की हुई थी। वेट अ सेकेंड, जस्ट अ नोटिफिकेशन। Okay. So first question answer was, what is the underlying idea behind the one nation policies of the government? The answer was B, to apply uniform solutions. This was given in the first paragraph. अगर आप देख सकते थे तो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में दिस वाज ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड। सेकंड क्वेश्चन के लिए आपको थोड़ी सी प्रायर नॉलेज जरूरी थी। द विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट बिल डील्स विद द एम्पावरमेंट द इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया टू इम्प्लीमेंट simultaneous state and national elections. This was done under 129th amendment. एंड इसके लिए द थर्ड क्वेश्चन जो हमारा था, विच कमिटी और रिपोर्ट हैज डिस्कस द फिजिबिलिटी ऑफ साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शंस इन इंडिया। अभी जो सेशन हुआ था इसके जस्ट पहले द ओवरऑल एनालिसिस, उसमें वी टॉक्ड अबाउट इट, एंड यस, लॉ कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया रिपोर्ट 2018 was the correct answer. Moving on, a high level committee was constituted by the government to examine the policy of one nation one election. The committee was led by whom? Tell me the answer. uh, Okay. What was the answer for the fourth question? What did you guys mark? चलो, किसी का तो गैस हुआ, करेक्ट हुआ। इट वाज श्री रामनाथ कोविंद। Moving on with the next question, correct. As per the new GST reforms introduced in September 2025, the structure of new GST rates are as follows. The answer was D, 5%, 18%, and 14%. Again, we have discussed this while we were studying for the same topic. One object of one nation, one ration card scheme is to benefit. This was from the passage itself. तो इसका आंसर was C. ऑलरेडी पैसेज में था, तो इस पैसेज को अगर मैं ओवरऑल रेट करूं तो दिस वाज अ बिट ऑन अ मॉडरेट टू डिफिकल्ट लेवल ऑफ द पैसेज। द फर्स्ट पैसेज जो लीगल सेक्शन के अंदर था, थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्टी लेवल के ऊपर आई वुड से, क्योंकि इसके अंदर आपको थोड़ी सी प्रायर नॉलेज जरूरी थी. नथिंग वाज विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू द पैसेज इटसेल्फ. ठीक है. मूविंग ऑन, the next passage, which was yeah, which was on the preamble, the constitution and preamble. थोड़ा सा static था, but again थोड़ी सी अगर किसी ने भी preamble के बारे में बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ा था, जो हमने पूरा एक डिस्कशन किया था on preamble, if you might have attended the session, हमने preamble के ऊपर पूरा डिस्कशन किया था. Similar to that, it was on the preamble as such. So, moving on with the first question, according to the passage, the relationship between the Constitution and the preamble can be best described as. This question का answer was there in the passage itself. कहीं बाहर से नहीं पूछा गया था. Passage के अंदर ही था. तो yes, both the Constitution and the preamble were shaped in the light of each other. The answer was C. Correct. Moving on, what did the earliest draft of the preamble emphasize? The answer here, according to passage, again, this was on a अगर किसी ने preamble पढ़ी थी, जैसे मैंने हमेशा आपको बोला था, मेरे सेशन में ही I have said कि एक बार preamble पढ़ लेना, एक बार अच्छे से देख लेना, क्योंकि काफी बार ये भी हो सकता है कि arrangements पूछी जा सकें. तो वही हमारा fourth question was on arrangement itself. लेकिन here they were asking कि what was the earliest draft of preamble emphasized? This was from the passage itself. The answer was C, correct. Formal enactment of the people through representatives. Moving on, which of the following is not enshrined in the preamble of the Constitution of India? इसमें से काफी जिन बच्चों ने अगर preamble एक बार भी read किया है, अगर उनके आंखों के सामने उन्होंने देखा होगा, तो this was a very similar. अगर आपने कभी भी एक बार भी preamble देखा है, तो answer would be C with respect to the same, which was not correct among all the other statements. Moving on, the fourth question, जो मैंने बोला कि अगर preamble पढ़ा था, जैसे we the people of India solemnly resolves to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, right? This was the correct statement, correct order of the following question. Moving on with the next question, that was the preamble of the Constitution of India is finally based on. So when you read the passage, when you analyze the passage, this question is with respect to the passage itself. ये बाहर से नहीं पूछा गया था, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था जो पैसेज के आउटसाइड है या हमको इंटरप्रेट करने पे नहीं आएगा, राइट? द आंसर वाज, टेल मी द आंसर. ये तो बनना चाहिए था, ये तो पैसेज में ही था. The answer was A, the objective resolutions. Moving on with the answer question, sorry. What was the role of the Sir B.N. Rao in the making of the Indian Constitution? ये बाहर का क्वेश्चन था. अगर आपने कभी भी स्टैटिक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ा है, अगर आपने उस पर ध्यान नहीं दिया है, तो ये कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट लेवल ऑफ क्वेश्चन था. अगर आपको नहीं पता था, तो पैसेज में कहीं भी ऐसे डायरेक्टली स्टेटेड नहीं है कि हु द पर्सन वाज, व्हाट वाज हिज रोल, राइट? तो ही वाज द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल एडवाइजर टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली. थोड़ा बहुत अगर आपने पहले से पढ़ा होता, तो दिस वुड हैव बीन नोन टू यू. Moving on with the third passage, which was on the judgment Manoj Narula versus Union of India का एक extract था, जिसके ऊपर we were talking about here. Good governance and what were the powers of Prime Minister and Chief Minister, what they should look for with respect to the people who can be there in the Council of Ministers, right? Who can become the Council of Ministers. पूरा पैसेज उसके ऊपर बेस्ड था, और पैसेज वाज मोस्टली, जिसके जितने भी आंसर्स थे कहीं ना कहीं पूरे पैसेजेस पे बेस्ड ही थे, ऐसे कुछ उन्होंने बाहर से नहीं पूछा था विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दिस. तो इस पैसेज को कहीं ना कहीं आई वुड रेट इजी टू मॉडरेट. जो लास्ट पैसेज था उसको भी आई वुड कंसिडर इजी टू मॉडरेट. जो फर्स्ट पैसेज था वो कहीं ना कहीं मॉडरेट टू डिफिकल्ट लेवल पे था. According to the passage, the court cannot decide what is good or bad governance, but it can for sure indicate constitutional ethos on governments and remind functionaries for their duties. ये पूरा first passage से ही question पूछा गया है, right? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar believed that the working of the constitution ultimately depends on. So that is what they might have stated in the fourth या fifth वाली line में. of this passage that yes, the good sense and integrity of those who are going to administer this constitution. So this was what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar ji might have thought when he was framing the constitution, and that is also stated in the passage itself. कहीं बाहर का कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं था, पैसेज से ही पूछा गया था, डायरेक्टली आपको आंसर लगाना था. The court, while respecting the prerogative of the prime minister and chief ministers, select ministers, emphasized that. ये क्वेश्चन को 2 बार अलग अलग डिफरेंट टाइप से पूछा गया है विद इन द सेम पैसेज ओनली. तो जो हमारा इस पैसेज का 3rd क्वेश्चन है और जो लास्ट क्वेश्चन है, आई बिलीव उसके अंदर दे आर आस्किंग द सेम थिंग, राइट. तो ये तो दिस वाज अ इजी थिंग जो आपको सामने ही दी गई है. अगर आप सबसे नीचे जाओगे यहाँ पे द लास्ट सेकंड लाइन में ही दे आर आंसरिंग व्हाट दे आर आंसरिंग इज moral turpitude also offense specifically referred to chapter. So something which was framed, the charges have been framed by a criminal court. So you might जो last question है उसके अंदर आप देखोगे तो उसके अंदर there are different options given कि frame in the court of law, frame in the court of law और भी उन्होंने चीजें दी हैं, proved in the court of law, pending in the court of law. तो वहां पे आपको framed वाला एक ऑप्शन करेक्ट मार्क करना था. तो आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन वुड बी द ए आंसर. What role does the court assume as described in the passage regarding governance and appointments to the Council of Ministers? तो कहीं ना कहीं इसका आंसर was B, prophetic duty to remind key functionaries of their constitutional role. Again, this was from the passage itself. अगर आपने passage एक बार भी अच्छे से पढ़ा होता तो ये आपको आ जाता. Who are the constitutional functionaries these passage primarily refers to? So, आंसर क्या था भाई? ये तो बहुत ही इजी था भाई. पूरा पैसेज के अंदर से पूछा गया था, कहीं बाहर से नहीं पूछा गया था, कुछ भी बाहर से नहीं आया था इसमें. ठीक है, तो ये बोलना ही मत कि ये पैसेज में कुछ बाहर से पूछा गया था. करेक्ट, द आंसर इज डी. प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड चीफ मिनिस्टर्स की बारे में बात की जा रही थी इस पे. ठीक है, द लास्ट क्वेश्चन जिसका मैंने ऑलरेडी आंसर आपको दे दिया कि यस आपको ये चेक करना था, और लास्ट सेकंड लाइन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इट. द आंसर वुड बी हियर. Against whom charges involving moral turpitude have been framed in a court of law. Moving with the second last paragraph that was from State of Tamil Nadu versus Governor of Tamil Nadu. काफी डिस्कस्ड पॉइंट था ये, हमने काफी बार डिस्कस भी किया था ये केस को, और इसके क्वेश्चंस वर easy, I would say, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं passages के question इसी थे. The first question, the Legislative Assembly of State X passes a controversial bill and sends it to the Governor of Assent. The Governor, strongly disagreeing with the bill's provision, decides to neither give assent nor return the bill, hoping it will forgotten over the time. Which of the following statements accurately describe the legal position of the Governor's action? The answer would be B here. ये पूरा ही passage का अगर मैं just बोलूं तो कहीं ना कहीं इसमें डिस्कस किया गया था. आगे, Governor Y receives a bill from the State Assembly and after careful consideration decides to withhold assent, promptly returning it with a message for reconsideration. The State Assembly then reenacts the bill without any change and sends it back to Governor Y. What is the constitutional obligation of Governor Y at this point? The answer would be A. After seeing a Supreme Court's judgment in Tamil Nadu versus State of Tamil Nadu, the third question, the answer would be D. The state government can approach the courts as the judgment has prescribed timelines for the governor's action on bill since indefinite delay was constituted unconstitutional. ये पूरा passage में ही दिया गया था, right? In a situation mirroring the Tamil Nadu case, the Supreme Court bench is reviewing several instances where a particular governor has indefinitely delayed assents on multiple bills passed by state assembly despite constitutional obligations. If the Supreme Court decides to follow the precedent established in state of Tamil Nadu versus governor of Tamil Nadu regarding pending bills, what would be likely outcome for these delayed bills? The answer would be C here. The Supreme Court could deem assent on the pending bills establishing a critical precedent for judicial review of gubernatorial powers in such cases. I did not Tamil Nadu case. Moving on, a newly appointed governor publicly declares that he intended to use his discretion. The answer would be D. The governor's declaration is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court explicitly rejected the governor's power to an absolute or pocket veto. What are the three primary courses? इसका आंसर would be C. अगर आपने कभी भी गवर्नर्स के पावर पढ़े थे, हमने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में काफी बार डिस्कस किया हुआ है. दिस इज आवर मोस्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट जो हमारे पावर्स होते हैं प्रेसिडेंट के और गवर्नर के, हम काफी बार वो उनको पढ़ते हैं, राइट? The last question was on the same-sex marriage, जो last year का ही topic था, but yes, they have asked the question this time as well. The first question was in October 2023, जो recently आया था कि they cannot, they are not, it's not legal for the same-sex marriage was not legal, held like illegal by the Supreme Court. That is what they have been talking about in the whole of the passage. The October 2023, two individuals in India, Ramesh and Sameer, who identify as a same-sex couple, want to solemnize their marriage. Supreme Court के ruling के अगर तरीके से जाऊं तो yes, whatever they were discussing, the answer would be moving on, during a legal proceeding in India, an advocate argues that the Supreme Court could directly legislate on same-sex marriage because the right to choose a partner inherently implies a fundamental right to marry for all citizens. The answer here was B again. Easy था ये passage भी कहीं ना कहीं easy to moderate की तरफ ही था. Following the Supreme Court decision on LGBTQ plus advocacy group in India, the answer was C, the parliament and state legislature as the power to legislate on same-sex marriage rest with them, right? While क्योंकि Supreme Court ने बोला था कि the making of the law is a part of the parliament and not me, and I can just give certain guidelines for the same, right? While same-sex marriage is not legally recognized in India, however, the Supreme Court's verdict did offer some acknowledgements of rights for same-sex couple, which of the following rights was specifically affirmed by the court. Right, the answer was C, the right of same-sex couple to cohabit privately, but they were not given the right to marry, right? Last second question, Ramesh and Suresh, I mean, the answer would be again B, similar type of questions they asked. Yes, ये जो question था ये थोड़ा difficult था बच्चों के लिए क्योंकि of course they might not know उनको they might be not aware, but then if you were following the news और अगर आपने current affairs follow किया था, अगर आपने legal current affairs भी follow किया था, तो कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ तो बन जाना चाहिए था, ठीक है? तो answer was A, intersex and asexual was the new terms that were added into the LGBTQ plus as a term, right? So अगर मैं legal को पूरा कहीं ना कहीं rate करूंगी तो इसको easy to moderate ही करूंगी पूरा, but then there were few questions जो मुझे लगा कि वो बच्चे नहीं कर पाते अगर उनके पास कोई ऑप्शन होता या नहीं होता तो yes, good score would be somewhere around 23 to 25, which is a very good score. आप अगर आपको पूरा पेपर आता तो for sure आप पूरा भी मार्क कर सकते थे. But कहीं ना कहीं good score is 22 to 25. That is what. So yes. I think there would be another faculty joining soon. Till then, good. So एक student ने बोला, ma'am, my was 26. I'm getting all except one that I attempted. Okay. So next up, we might have Siddharth sir for LR, and also let me tell you, score calculator is live. Go and check your score there. You will be getting your scores. You'll getting a good attempts as well. So go there and check it. आपको लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में भी मिल जाएगा और अगर आपको नहीं मिले तो गो टू आवर लॉ एंट्रेंस वेबसाइट पे जाना पड़ेगा एंड देन यू जस्ट हैव टू टाइप CLAT 2026 स्कोर एस्टिमेशन. If you type there, you will get it. आपको ये मिल जाएगा पेज एंड देन यू कैन गो अहेड एंड चेक योर स्कोर, राइट? CLAT 2026 एग्जाम एनालिसिस लाइव भी टाइप करोगे तो भी आपको मिल जाएगा विद रिस्पेक्ट टू LST एज अ चैनल. नहीं तो मेरी टीम कहीं ना कहीं आपको यहाँ पे पिन कर देगी, राइट? You will soon get good hitman bang 7159. 25.75 would be his guess. So my team has actually pinned the message. You can go and check out the score calculator of yours. स्कोर जितने भी आ रहे हैं आप क्या वहां पे जाके चेक कर सकते हो अभी के अभी आप इस सेशन के दौरान भी जब तक सिद्धार्थ सर ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं. सो आई होप सिद्धार्थ वुड ज्वाइन सून. तब तक आप जाके अपना स्कोर कैलकुलेटर ज्वाइन कर सकते हो एंड देन कम बैक टू योर. आप दूसरा टैब खोल लो, आप इस पे भी रहो, यू जस्ट लिसन टू व्हाट वी आर सेइंग, और एक टैब बाजू में भी खोल सकते हो और यू कैन गो अहेड एंड चेक योर स्कोर एज वेल. मैं भी एक्चुअली आज एग्जाम ही लिखने गई थी आप लोग की तरह ही. आई वाज आल्सो देयर एट द सेंटर. Yes. तो सिद्धार्थ सर इज योर ऑल द बेस्ट गाइस. यू विल गेट एलआर के क्वेश्चंस एंड उनकी सारी अपडेट. ओके बाय बाय. टेक केयर.
Guys, hi guys, good evening. So just give me a minute. I will just share my slide. Hmm. हेलो हेलो. हाँ मिते, कर लियो. मैं बस स्लाइड शेयर कर रहा हूँ. somebody has to confirm कि हाँ. Okay guys, is my screen visible? Just tell me. Someone from the backend needs to tell me. Yeah, it's not visible. No, just give me a minute. Yeah, so this is visible now, right? So guys, am I audible? Am I visible? Just this is great. Correct. Chalo. So then let us look at this section. So firstly, let me tell you that this was a shocker, है ना? मतलब पहले ही हम बता चुके हैं, बात कर चुके हैं. Nobody would have said this before the test that you can expect 3 AR questions in this section, but there were, and not very easy. And that is why one reason I believe that cutoff could go slightly down because of this logical reasoning section. Not that English was easy. I mean, I and Rahul Reddy sir and I were just discussing the entire paper of English and logical reasoning. We found quite a few questions which would have confused students. So on the first instance वो हमको लगा था कि last year से एक आध question difficult होगा, but this was, the English language section was not very straightforward, as I कॉन्ट्रडिक्टिंग माई सेल्फ जो उस एनालिसिस में मैंने बोला था, क्योंकि अभी हमने डीप एनालिसिस की और अभी समझा कि एग्जाम प्रेशर में जो गलतियां हमसे हुई है वो बच्चों से भी हुई होगी डेफिनेटली. सो लेट अस लुक एट दिस. चलो, लॉजिकल रीजनिंग, दिस वाज द फर्स्ट सेट. ओके, so in a language, this electrocardiograph, so basically there were 3 steps which 3 step का था ये, and आपको वो step by step if you would have followed you would have got the right answer. However, there was slightly confusing part that it says that the one half, I think 9 letters, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, yahan tak ke one half is reversed. What happens with the other half, that's not given. So that multiple interpretation could be possible, that what happens with the the other half. Okay, so that could be, that could have been one problem. So let us look at the answers. Okay, so this was the first question. Which letter was exactly in the middle? The letter was E. I'm not giving you complete solution because at this point in time you are more bothered about your answers, right? So first one, which letter will be exactly in the middle, is the answer is option E. Option D, which is E. How many vowels will be the left of the middle letter? So middle letter was E. There were 3 to the left of it. So once again, answer is D. Which of the 2 vowels will be adjoining to each other? The answer is B. I and O. They were with each other together. The next one is the fourth. Is the option is A. A is the right answer. I hope you are checking it for yourself. Name the letters sandwiched between 2 vowels. So C एक evident था, तो others I did not check. So answer is इसका C. B. C and L. And this one is which letter is prefixed to the word? Answer is P. So these were the 6 answers of the first one. I will just from the beginning I will tell you. The first, which letter will be exactly in the middle, is E, option D. Then second one again option D. The third one option B. Then option A. Then option B, and then option B again. Then the next set is on this evidence based. Very interesting set wherein some theft has happened and there are 3 people and each one have their own alibi which they are putting forth, apart from Anjali, that is. And interesting case and debatable also with respect to few answers here. Few people might have, although everybody would have attempted this, but यहाँ पर गलत होने की chances हैं. Identify the most likely suspect. Most likely suspect is Anjali, because it is said that based only on the fact that 5-digit code was used to open the display. So who is the only plausible suspect? Suspect is Anjali because she is the one जिसका कोई alibi present नहीं है. So answer should be A. This one is very easy. So time constraints consider करके answer should be option B, 12/5. Yeah. Deduction and contradictory evidence. If the theft was committed by Bharat, which established fact must be incorrect based on the provided information. Now here, there could be 2 options which can be the answers. Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah. So according to us, this should be the answer. The time frame of his alibi, 8 p.m. to 1:30. This is an established fact. For him to have committed the theft, this should have gone wrong. So D should be the answer. However, even B is a very tempting choice, right? So even B is a very tempting choice, that security locks indicating code was used, because the last line says that that Bharat has previously said that he can unlock such things remotely. But in this particular case, it is said that the lock suggests that the code was used. Okay, so थोड़ा सा ये ट्रिकी हो सकता है. वी आर गोइंग अहेड विद डी, बट हो सकता है क्लैट कैन से बी, बट मोर चांसेस ऑफ डी बीइंग द राइट आंसर हियर. Analyzing accessory evidence, this one was easy. Anjali is the one जहां पर मतलब क्लियर कट इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना चाहिए. Identify the logical flaw in the argument. ये वाला question में answer should be B. If an event requires presence, confirmed. If an event it requires presence, confirmed absence proves innocence. So this should be the right answer. इसमें problem नहीं होना चाहिए. Drawing a strongest conclusion. Answer should be C. Anjali is the most likely suspect. Okay. Considering all the facts, which is the most reasonable inference, जो first का answer था उसी तरीके का है of this set. Again, in this particular question, there could be two answers. Assessing necessary condition. What condition is necessary for Chitra to have stolen the medallion? It could be A, that she must know the 5-digit code, because it is said that 5-digit code use करके हुआ है. And also the one wherein C, which talks about that the theft must have occurred after she left the studio and before 1 a.m. because वो उसके स्टूडियो से जाने के बाद होगा तभी she can take the medal. However, both A and C looks good choice. I will go ahead and say that C is a better choice than A, because for theft she has to be present there, right? Knowing the code might not be enough, so C is a better choice than A in this particular case. Okay, so we are done with the second set also. Let us go and look at this one. This had one one question which was wrong. So what you should have done is it would have been easy for you if you would have made note of these things. मतलब वहीं पर पेपर में लिख लेते. I'm sure लिख ही लिया होगा, तो ये ज्यादा easy रहता. All the 4 statements, if you write like this, so it would have been easy for you. Okay, so let us see the first one. How is T related to P? Answer is none of these. I don't remember what exactly the relationship was coming, but it is none of these. Next is, which of the means that R is wife of P? Answer is D. Okay. This was, I think, you could have eliminated is, P into R means P is father of R, है ना? तो बट हमसे वाइफ पूछा है, तो ये तीनों वैसे ही एलिमिनेट हो जाते और डी बन जाता आंसर. नेक्स्ट वाला इज सन इन लॉ. देन नेक्स्ट वाला इज ग्रैंडमदर. This is a wrong question, because here the problem was R at the same time mother and father दोनों आ जा रहा था. तो this we believe is a wrong question. Data inconsistent या question में inconsistency थी. तो don't know, you should have left it or marked it anything. This should be scrapped if it is wrong, if they consider it as wrong. Next wala, the answer is B. Right? So this set, I will once again repeat the answers from the beginning. First का D था, second का D था, then third का C, fourth का A, then the fifth question was wrong, and then the sixth question was B. Right? So let us look at the last set, which was the most difficult one out of all, because the kind of novelty factor it had in it. So this students might have found it difficult. I'm sure that छोड़े भी होंगे काफी लोग इस क्वेश्चन को, और परहैप्स रैंक डिसाइडर क्वेश्चन हो सकता है, मेक और ब्रेक क्वेश्चन हो सकता है ये वाला, बिकॉज 7 क्वेश्चंस वेयर देयर. राइट? सो बट देन बेटर कि अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो छोड़ के कुछ और कर लेते. ठीक है, तो यहां पर जो केस बन रहा था वो जो मुझे याद आ रहा है वो कुछ ऐसा था. रेड और ब्लू फर्स्ट गेम खेल रहे थे, ग्रीन और येलो सेकेंड गेम खेल रहे थे, रेड और येलो फोर्थ गेम, और ग्रीन एंड ब्लू आई थिंक दे वेर दी वंस जो थर्ड गेम खेल रहे थे. सो दिस वाज द सेट लाइक. ठीक है, तो फर्स्ट वन, डिटरमाइन द ग्रीन टीम शेड्यूल. ग्रीन टीम ने सेकेंड और बी एंड सी राउंड खेला है. ठीक है, तो दिस आंसर इज बी, ऑप्शन बी. नेक्स्ट इज अप्लाइंग द पोजिशनल कंस्ट्रेंट. ये वाला कंस्ट्रेंट यूज करना है. बेस्ड ऑन ऑल द रूल्स, पर्टिकुलरली रूल 3, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग मैचेस मस्ट बी शेड्यूल्ड फॉर राउंड ए. Round A was red and blue. Blue team's first opponent was red. This was, this option suggested that there might be multiple cases. right? Cannot be determined, या there might be multiple. So यहाँ पर थोड़ा सा confusion होने लगता है कि कोई केस ऐसा तो नहीं है जो और बन रहा है और मैं नहीं बना रहा हूँ, बट मैंने ट्राई किया और तो कोई केस मुझे लगा नहीं होगा. दैट वाज द ओनली केस जो मैंने अभी बना के बताया था. फाइंडिंग द मैच इन राउंड सी. व्हाट इज द मैच शेड्यूल फॉर राउंड सी? राउंड सी का मैच वाज दिस ग्रीन का मैच था ब्लू के साथ. ऑप्शन बी. ठीक है. देन नेक्स्ट इज identifying the teams excluded from the round. Which pair of round contains matches where the yellow team does not participate? Yellow first में नहीं किया था participate and third में नहीं किया था, तो round A and round C. Round A and round C. Okay, yellow किसके साथ नहीं गेम खेला है is blue, and the last one is rule 5. Right, so once again I will repeat all the options, all the answers. The first one of this set was B, the second one was C, the third one was B, fourth one was B, fifth one was A, sixth was B, and seventh was D. Okay. So guys, yeah. So, all right. So now, let me give you my opinion. So if I look at it, this was difficult, no doubt, because of the kind of the novelty factor, the unexpected thing it had. Last set was difficult, the one which we discussed just now, red blue green wala, that set was difficult. The one based on evidence, possibly two answers in couple of questions, but I think what we are saying might be the right thing. ज्यादा chances है उसका सही होने का, but I won't be surprised अगर CLAT कुछ और बोलता है तो. The first electrograph वाला, once again it was something जो हो सकता है कि क्रैक करने में मुश्किल हुआ हो, but then it was relatively the easiest of all, I must say. Somebody if उसको properly करे तो वो पूरे 6 questions सही हो सकते थे. Evidence based में 5 to 6 सही होना हो सकता है, all 7 also you could get right. The the family tree wala, the blood relation wala, that was time taking question, and their students might have committed one or two mistake, and the last one was challenging. That is why I believe out of 26 questions, if somebody is getting around 15 16 marks or so, 16 17 is a very good score there, right, considering the novelty factor and everything. Okay, so yeah, if you have any question you can ask me. Yeah, so just let us wait for the next person to discuss the answers.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. I think it is good that you've shared the the insights that we got when we discussed the key, and I just want to reiterate, the more we think about it on deeper analysis, it doesn't look like a paper that is significantly easy, right? Even things which look on the surface, there are traps slightly hidden below. What looks like okay ये तो कर सकते हैं, but then you see there are answers and multiple interpretations happening. There are close choices here and there and so on. So all I'm saying is just relax a little bit. There will always be in any exam people who claim that cutoffs will be ridiculously high. I don't think that's going to be true. I've seen a few people on social media talking about 100 ka cutoff and all that. That's just not going to happen, right? So I'll stick my neck out and say cutoff will be slightly lower than last year. How much we will see. I mean, obviously, we are making educated predictions. They're not going to be exact, but I can stick my neck out. I will not be far away from the answer, right? Again, this is something that exactly what Siddharth said. I will say, look, everybody makes mistakes. I was there in the hall like you guys were today. And when I come out, I see there are questions which I thought I was absolutely sure of and I got them wrong, right? And that is happening to me, who's not under any pressure like you guys are. Right? I'm not under pressure. I don't want that seat there, and I still make mistakes. Now, so definitely students who are under pressure will make mistakes, especially when they're shaking up things, shaking up the order of sections, adding more AR. It's not that you can't do AR, you can, but you were not expecting this, right? And that kind of shakes your confidence a little bit, right? Or ऐसा नहीं कि only your confidence is shaken and everybody else is some तीसमार कान. That's not going to happen, right? Mistakes will be made by all people, including your competitors. So that is probably a reason why the score should go down. Okay. So I'll not waste too much time. I'll quickly run through the verbal part. Let me just Siddharth, share window or share screen? Which one shall we do? Okay, why am I not getting it? Same problem that I had last time. Can somebody else share the screen, please? Some reason not working. I think it's a browser related issue. Or can somebody just hold the fort for 2 minutes while I join from a different browser? Right. Can somebody confirm if it's visible?
Yes, so
Yes.
you're perfectly visible.
Visible now?
Your screen is gone. Let me just figure it out.
I'm only able to see one, either the screen or the presentation. Presentation is visible, right? Yes.
No, sir, your presentation is not visible. You are visible. So,
Okay. Just let me try it again. Window and this one, right? How about now? Yeah. Now it's okay. 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 So let's not, as clearly we are not really into explanations right now. There is time for explanatory answers. I'm pretty sure you just want to know the answers so that you can get an estimated score that we have looked at. Right. Yeah. So very clearly, I'm just quickly marking out things here. Question number one, the first passage, very small, very simple, just 300 words and fairly straightforward. The essence of the passage is simple, that this non-cooperation movement was the first mass movement in Indian independence history where everybody joined, people from across regions, across classes, upper class, lower class, educated, uneducated, everybody joined. And that was really one of the major achievements of Mahatma Gandhi. Right? So, from the passage, it is evident that non-cooperation movement had gained the sympathy of majority of Indians. It's fairly straightforward. Option C. Right? Poor dumb millions. Now you could have a question between option A and option D, but I think literally if you look at it, poor is poverty and dumb here means uneducated, unaware. So in that sense, D would be the straightforward answer. Right? Which of the statement is true? Clearly, there was a fine show of communal unity. I think that is mentioned directly in the last paragraph. The maintenance of communal unity, despite the Malabar developments, was no main achievement. Right? The main idea of the passage, again, this is not a great answer, but none of the other options work well. So option B. British became fearful, worryful. Option C is out of scope, nowhere given anywhere. Non-cooperation movement did not give impetus is contradictory. Most positive feature was it was repeated last year. That is given in the last paragraph. It was not repeated. The unity between different religions that was there in this moment, but later it broke down, which led to the partition of India. Therefore, the only answer that fits well is option B. The communalism here is religious identity, again fairly straightforward, where it talks about minority population, hinted at Malabar developments, etc. And there is also a hint that this feature of the movement was not to be repeated in later years, which is connected to partition. So you could argue that nowhere does it directly mention religion, right? It could have been regionalism, it could have been caste, but then caste is out of context here, it is not mentioned. And minority generally in the Indian context and communal unity in the Indian context normally means religious identity, right? Okay, this is again a very straightforward thing. Basic idea was saying that ancient human beings were not very different from animals, right? Now, what is the most significant characteristic of prehistoric animals? It is directly given, right? They were no different. The most important thing to know about prehistoric humans is that they were incognizant animals with no impact, no more impact on their environment than gorilla, firefly, jellyfish. Directly given in the second paragraph. Therefore, it is fundamentally D. Now, this is a tricky one, incognizant. Now, very quickly, you will take out C and D. Right? It's not a question of interest or not interest on the environment. They did not have an impact on the environment. Incapable of social interaction is clearly wrong because they loved, they played, they formed close friendships, etc., etc. Right? So C and D are clearly wrong. Between A and B, you may get tempted by intelligence because we are talking about primitive human beings. Probably they were dumb and they didn't have intelligence. But here, the two key things. One is, if you're in doubt, look at the context of the passage. Right? Second paragraph, nobody, least of all humans themselves, had any inkling that their descendants would one day walk on the moon, split the atom, fathom genetic code, and write history books. The most important thing to know about prehistoric humans is that they were incognizant animals. So it is connected, right? So when you read that particular word, you look at the previous sentence and the following sentence if necessary. So basically, they were unaware that they would later become such powerful animal species who can change nature. So, and also remember that root word of cognizant comes from COGN, which means to know, right? So it comes from knowledge. So therefore, unaware of their future potential. And that is connected to later the same human beings would become technologically advanced to do so many things like go to space, land on the moon, generate atomic power and so on. But that future these prehistoric human beings were unaware of, which is why be unaware of future potential. Why humans did not initially stand out among other human beings? Again, if in doubt, eliminate. They had fewer offspring than other species, nowhere given. Ability to use tools, again not mentioned anywhere. They lack the genetic capacity to develop knowledge, would be contradiction because they did develop a language later without the genes really changing much. So their behavior was similar to other animals. They were no different from other animals. That is given in the passage, which is by option B. What determines whether two animals belong to the same species? I think it is given. Animals are said to belong to the same species if they tend to mate with each other, give birth to fertile offspring. Not only reproduction, but they should give rise to offspring which can again reproduce. Right? The example is horses and donkeys can reproduce. They will have children, but their children cannot again have children. So the gene pool does not go forward, okay, which is therefore option A here. Now this could be a tricky question here. The question explains the concept of species classification that is largely done in the third paragraph, which starts by saying biologists classify organisms into species. Right? Now the example given, we just looked at what is a species where animals can mate with each other and provide fertile offspring. Horses and donkeys, by this clarification, are not the same species, but bulldogs and spaniels are the same species. Right? So you could definitely say that, look, behavioral differences between species like horses, donkeys, bulldogs, and spaniels. Right? The problem with option A is it is talking about the behavioral difference. The issue is not behavior. It is their capacity to reproduce and produce fertile offspring. Right? So behavior will be too broad. Right? There are a lot of aspects in which even bulldogs and spaniels may behave differently. Like a small dog like a Pekingese can behave very different from a big dog like a Rottweiler. Right? But the key is they are same species because they have the same genetic pool and the ability to mate and produce fertile offspring. Right? So therefore B is the correct answer and not A. So don't just go by, look, horse, donkey, bulldog, spaniel, sab tha, therefore option A. That would be a wrong answer. Right. This is Francis Fukuyama. Slightly difficult passage to read compared to the other passages, right? But the questions were fairly straightforward. What is most critical in understanding Freedom House's evaluation process? Nothing much is given about the evaluation process, right? First paragraph, first line, it says that it produces quantitative measures of civil and political rights. That's all is given. Nothing else is given about how the evaluation process happens, right? So the methodology by which it quantifies relative freedoms in different political systems. Option A is the only one that fits, right? Option B, electoral participation, voter turnout, is wrong because they're focusing on the civil and political rights, not how many people vote. Right? Its role in advising governments on democratic reforms based on the rankings, complete out of context. Nowhere does it say that Freedom House gives guidance or consultation to governments. Primary focus on economic disparities is completely contradictory. Primary focus is on the rights that people enjoy in these countries. Done. Two, now this is a tricky question, right? And every now and then, while overall English looks easy, every now and then we see some tricky question. This is a tricky question. This is an English idiom. And what happens in an idiom or idiomatic expression is that a set of words together have a specific meaning. So here, vote with their feet would mean that they take action by moving or traveling, right? Suppose my economic condition is not good in, say, Pakistan, then I will leave Pakistan and go to another country, maybe a UK, where my economic or social rights are better. Right? So vote through their feet means I am not voting to change the system in a country like Pakistan where I am not happy. I simply move to a different country, right? Which is therefore option C. Now, if you did not know this phrase, then yes, this question could have been a tricky process. Okay, but let's look at the context. Where does it specifically say this, right? This social mobilization was driven by a host of factors, greatly expanded access to education that made people more aware, information technology, rapid spread of ideas and knowledge, cheap travel and communication that allowed people to vote with their feet if they didn't like their government. Remember, so vote with their feet is connected to travel and communication, which again gives you a hint that option C would be the right answer. But this was definitely a tricky question. Do not blame yourself if you got it wrong. This is straightforward. Third wave of democratization as used in the passage, right? This transformation was Samuel Huntington's third wave of democratization. Liberal democracy as a default form of government. Okay. So go back one line. It says tremendous or momentous political change, democracies and market-oriented economies spreading in virtually every part of the world. So spreading of democracy, spreading of market economics, which is option B. Again, thankfully for you, the other options are nowhere close. Which of the following which of the following was not mentioned as a factor contributing to social mobilization and shift to democracy? Right? So what are mentioned? Education is mentioned, information technology is mentioned, prosperity is mentioned. What is not mentioned is military presence. Again, if you look at the choices, it's an obvious answer. Now this could be a tricky question, right? This is more of attention to detail type questions. When was the first time freedom has declined around the world? So go to the last part of the passage. Freedom House noted that 2009 marked the fourth consecutive year in which freedom has declined. If 2009 was the fourth year, 2008 was the third year, 7 was the second year, and 6 would be the first year. And we have 2006 as an answer. But where is it confusing is the very next phrase. It says the first time this has happened since it's established its measure of freedom in 1973. Okay. But remember, there's a small comma. Fourth consecutive year in which freedom has declined around the world, comma, the first time this has happened. What do you mean by this has happened? 4 consecutive declines happened for the first time since 1973, right? But if you're looking at 1 year decline, that has happened for the first time in 2006. So this is another tricky question. As I mentioned, there are tricky questions where some of us, including faculty, good students, have made errors. So it's not that easy a paper. And especially compared to last year, I would definitely say this is a notch higher. Right. This was the literary story type of passage that we had. The narrator and the kinsman initial impression of unusual man highlights which theme? Okay, what was their initial appearance? Based on the dress and bearing, we thought that he was an upcountry boorish man. Upcountry means somebody from a small town or a village background, right? And then later when they heard him speak, they found that he was a very knowledgeable and educated person, right? So basically the deceptive nature of appearances. He appeared to be somebody from a rural area and, not civilized, but he turned out to be highly educated and very wise. So that's the deceptive nature of appearances. Now this could be tricky, though technically you will see that the options make it fairly straightforward. Which literary device is most evident in the narrator's line? One might think the disposer of all things. Who is disposer of all things? That is a key. So disposer of all things is your Mukaddar ka Sikandar, right? So this is basically a reference to God. So we are saying God himself would ask his advice before taking a decision, right? Clearly, that's an exaggeration. Therefore, hyperbole is the only thing that fits. This is a tricky one, really. Theo obviously is God. Sophos is knowledge, right? You got to put those things together. Some of them who have done a lot of GK might remember the Theosophical Society and Annie Besant from the Indian independence movement. The other way to do this, if you're not very good at language, is to look at the context. Okay, where is the context? Okay. So it says that my kinsman, a theosophist, became convinced that our fellow passenger was inspired by some strange magnetism, occult power, astral body. He listened with devotional rapture, etc., etc. So if you see the interest, he is talking about strange magnetism, some unknown power, some star kind of, that kind of stuff, right? Which fits very well with mystic. Now, skeptic is exact opposite. Skeptic is a doubtful person. Someone who say, I don't, ye jala fraud lag raha hai. Kuch bhi bake ja raha hai. I don't believe him. That kind of stuff, right? Agnostic is a person who is not sure whether God exists or not. But from the description, clearly, the author's co-passenger clearly believed in spirituality, right? Materialist is out of context, so mystic is the only one that fits well. Boorish clearly is discourteous. Even if you didn't know the answer, you will see that B, C, and D are all kind of synonyms. A is the odd one out, therefore that is the answer. The narrator's suspicion that extraordinary man was quietly pleased. That clearly shows that he was pleased by, what was he pleased about? He was pleased about the way the author, and especially author's co-passenger, author's friend, they were listening very carefully. They were paying a lot of attention to what the strange man is saying, and author's friend was even taking notes, and that part pleased him. So the attention that he received, he was happy with the attention, right? Which was option D is the only one, says. C is exact opposite. C says man was indifferent, right? B, the man wished to avoid any recognition of the authority. If he wants to avoid recognition, why is he speaking so much on every known topic, right? And embarrassed is out of question. There is no evidence to say he was embarrassed by the attention, right? This last one comes from George Orwell's Animal Farm. The tone of the passage, I think, is fairly clear. I mean, this is when you see one answer choice which is much longer than everything else, you get tempted कि यार यही answer होना चाहिए, right? Okay, so tone of the passage is resentful, awareness, and outrage. So here, the speaker is talking about how man exploits animals, and he is talking to the animals, right? And the idea is to provoke a revolution, a rebellion, provoke anger against man who is exploiting them, right? So that clearly is option B. Okay. 2 is again a tricky question. As I said, every now and then they'll sprinkle tricky questions here. The speaker frequently contrasts animals' work with humans. He's saying animals are working hard, humans are gaining, right? What is this kind of literary technique? Okay. Now, thoda sa, if you have read Animal Farm or heard about it at least, then it helps. Animal Farm is largely considered an allegorical tale, right? Which means it is symbolic, right? That means there is, what do you mean by allegory? That means what you see in the surface is symbolic of a deeper meaning. So George Orwell, when he wrote Animal Farm, he was not talking about exploitation of animals by man. He was not an animal rights lover who was talking about how animals are being exploited by man. His take was how a socialist or communist society exploited people using the socialist propaganda and so on and so forth, right? It was a allegory. So here the pigs here talks about the one who is giving all this speech is a communist leader, right? Each one stands for something, right? So that symbolism gives you class exploitation, right? Again, if you're not aware of this, no problem. You know what we say, go down and start eliminating. Hyperbole, maybe. Comic effect, definitely not. Metaphor for animal biology, there is nothing biology about it, right? Irony about farm management, it's a stretch. So A clearly fits better than C, and B and D are clearly eliminatable. So 2A is the answer. Okay. Now I told you, right? that even we made mistakes, right? This is a mistake that I made. It's a very, very straightforward question. I don't know. I thought it was so straightforward. I marked A and did not even read C, right? 100 times I might have told students that do not mark an answer without reading all the choices, and I make the same bloody mistake, right? That's what happens in an exam scenario, right? So you may feel that, look, I carefully marked 20, I will get all 20 correct in a section. It won't work like that. There'll always be one odd error that keeps happening. Okay. So what is the difference here? Jones boxer, the day your great muscles fail you, Jones will sell you to the knacker who will slit your throat and boil you down for the fox hunts. Right. The key here is the day your great muscles fail you. That means boxer is a horse here. He's saying when you are no longer useful, when you become old, you cannot do any work, then the farmer will sell you. And that is the connection. Disposal of dead or unwanted animals. Not just a slaughterer, right? It's slightly different. Slaughter is you are slaughtering any animal, typically for food. Here you are slaughtering those animals which are no longer, which are already dead or which are no longer useful. Right? So this is the mistake that I made in the exam for a simple thing of not reading the options because I thought it was so obvious A is the answer, right? It isn't. It is option C. The repeated reference to slaughter, drowning, and knacker in the passage primarily imply what? Why is this person who is speaking, right? Here it is the pigs who are speaking. Why are they doing this? Why are they, as you say, bhadkawing the other animals? Right? The whole idea is to evoke emotional outrage. You want to get them angry. You say, "Dekho, tumhare saath kaise nainsafi ho raha hai." That kind of stuff. So, which is why option B. Right? Again, you will see that D is exactly contradictory. He's talking about how humans don't value animals. Right? A, detailed account of animal husbandry, how animal management is done, completely out of scope. Right? Suggests that animals are naturally subservient. He doesn't really do that anyway. Right? So that's broadly it. So let me again tell you, there were at least about 4 questions which are tricky, then 1 or other questions where under pressure you might make mistakes. So we've said about 20 should be the cutoff. I think it could go down by a mark or 2, right? So it could be as low as 18. So that's all I probably want to say. If you've got 18 plus, I think you should be reasonably happy. If you got 20 plus, you should be very happy, at least as far as the English section is good. Okay. Anyway, this is the whole objective is to ensure that you get an indication of where your score land up. Let us very clear, we do not make this claim that our key is the final key or what score you calculate has to be the definitive score. We know that CLAT consortium will throw some googlies, right? We've already seen that there's one definite wrong answer in LR. Technically, they've given GK in legal reasoning, which kind of goes against their instructions. I don't know if people will challenge that, but okay, that's all in the days to come. So thank you very much. You've worked hard, given your exam. Take a day off tomorrow, chill out a little bit, and then get back to the grind for ALET and SLAT, right? Thank you very much.
So, hello students. Press release has been already out by consortium, or provisional answers keys are going to be coming till 10th of December at 5 p.m. And also 12th तक आप अपने objections raise कर सकते हैं. There is also 12th of December till 5 p.m. Okay. Significantly, the test takers this time for CLAT UG were somewhere around 96% of 75,000 in total. That is what they have released in the press. Yes, so that is it. And I hope you like the session. फटाफट से जाके like कर दो, फटाफट से जाके comment कर दो और stay tuned for the provisional answer key session. जैसे ही आता है, we will have a session for the same as well. ठीक है